Hey everyone, this is Dawn over at Dawn's Addiction, dawnsaddiction.blogspot.com. I wanted to go through and show you guys how I make my Cricut mats re-sticky after they've lost a lot of the tack that they came with. I generally will use baby wipes on them, alcohol-free baby wipes, and get as much of the paper junk that's left on the mats. It keeps them fairly sticky, but after a while they get to the point where they are really not sticky at all. So the first step to getting your Cricut mat totally clean in our house is taking a baby wipe. So I just use whatever baby wipes we have. Conveniently, I have a 2-year-old, so we have baby wipes everywhere. I will take something with a pretty solid edge. My Cricut spatula works great. Put it on there and just go ahead and scrape off as much as I can. This mat I've already went ahead and scraped. It's a long process. Decided I wouldn't waste your time on that. But I get as much of the gunk off of the mat as I can to the point where it's smooth and it has pretty much no tack to it anymore. On some of the mats, they'll have so much of the paper residue left on the mat that you'll have to use some Goo Gone. So I'll spray the Goo Gone on the mat, let it sit about 5 minutes, and then do the same process with either the spatula and a baby wipe, or a lot of times a wood ruler with just a metal straight edge to it will work really well to just scrape it off, and it comes off in a pretty good layer. You only have to go over it a few times that way, and then it comes pretty clean. So after that, I let it dry. So it's totally dry to the touch. There's no stickiness on it at all. And then generally, in order to get that way, I'll wipe it down with just an old washcloth or whatnot, something that I don't mind getting the residue on it from the Goo Gone. A lot of times the goo off of the mats and the Goo Gone doesn't want to come out of the washcloth, so make sure it's not something that you're going to want to put in your bathroom or hang up for guests. We use Zig 2-way glue. It is the large tip. I got mine at my local scrapbooking store. It's Lila's Scrapbooking in Everett. They also have a blog. It's lilasScrapbooking.blogspot.com. Lila's filled with knowledge. Go see her. So basically we're going to start. You're going to have to, if it's brand new, the tip will be white and it will be dry. You'll need to tap it down a few times to get the glue on the applicator tip. You're just going to start at one edge and work your way straight over. This is about 1 inch wide, so you can do about 12 to 15 strips on it, and then you'll have it covered. You want to make sure that you leave all of the green around the edges totally clean, or you'll gum up your rollers and you won't be able to use the mat real well. And then you'll have to go through and Goo Gone it in your machine, which you don't want to have to deal with. So I'm going to quickly go along on this one. And you don't need a real thick layer. Just a nice thin layer along the whole thing. And also, of course, you can see that it's getting wet when you're doing it if you look at it with some nice light on it. And you can see if you missed any spots. I've also noticed that the Cricut doesn't cut the first 1/4 inch around the whole mat, so it's not real necessary to get that super sticky. I generally line up my paper a little bit off the side anyways, unless it's a 12 by 12 and I don't have a choice. So I'll put that on, get a good layer, generally go the other direction again. Make sure I just get a nice layer on there. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna let it dry overnight. That way, the Zig glue gets totally tacky and you don't get any extra paper residue on there. So as you can see, done with that. On the mat, I'm not sure how well you can see it with the camera, but you'll see that we get some puddles. A baby wipe does a great job. I just go along the edges and wipe to make sure that it's not going to gum up my rollers. No matter how great you are at it, I almost always get a little bit of the glue. With the big puddles, I'll just kind of smush it around because I don't want any big puddles on it. The spatula will do a great job of making it a little more even than my fingers. And I'm just going to set it aside then and let it dry for 24 hours or at least 12 to get it nice and dry, nice and tacky. And you can do this as many times as your mat will allow. I do have some mats that I've done it enough times to it that I've made cuts on the mats and the mats end up cracking. And this one, I'm going to retack it again and I've taped the back of it just because I'm too cheap and lazy to go buy a new mat. And I'll just keep using this one until it becomes unusable. So that is how I restick my Cricut mats. I hope you enjoyed the show, and have a great night. Hey everyone, this is Dawn at Dawn's Addiction, dawnsaddiction.blogspot.com. I am going to attempt my first project video to show you how to make some adorable baby shower invitations. I'm using purple cardstock and some lavender cardstock, and we are going to make baby shower invitations in the shape of onesies. So I'm going to start, I'm using a 12 by 24 Cricut mat. Normally I would just use a 12-inch mat, but I just restickied them all so they're not ready to be used right now. So I'm going to turn on my autofill feature because I want to cut as many on a page as I can. My shadow button is on, and I have already hit the onesie button, and it is right here. So I'm going to hit cut, and it's going to calculate the autofill, and it's going to tell me that it can cut it 4 times on that page, and it's going to start cutting. So now that we've cut all our shadows, which is actually going to be the back piece of the baby shower invitation, we're going to go ahead and start cutting the inner onesie piece that will be just a little bit smaller than the dark purple. So basically, if you look at this one, the black is going to be replaced with the purple, and this white onesie will be replaced with the lavender colored one. So again, I've got the autofill on. I took the shadow off and I just hit repeat last to get the onesie back on the screen. We're going to hit cut. It'll calculate it. It's going to do it 4 times, and then it will start cutting. Once we have everything cut out with our Cricut, we are going to be assembling the first shadow cut and the second onesie cut that has all of the little details on it. I'm just using a Zig 2-way glue pen. It's the big chisel tip, same one that we used for resticking our Cricut mats. So once you get the back good and glued, you're going to just layer it on top of the darker colored onesie, and you can do these in obviously any color that you want. I've done them in pink for little girls. I've done them in blue and green for little boys. So that's what your cut's going to look like. Once they're assembled, you'll see most of the details on the top, and then the back is just a solid purple. From there, we are going to be using the Studio G stamps. It's just a stamp that I picked up at Michael's for $1, and it says she's expecting, and it's got all the shower information as far as the date, the time, place, and where it is, or who it's given by. So the date, time, place, and given by actually all came as one strip of stamps, but I decided that I wanted them spaced out a little bit more than what they have on here. Since people are probably going to be handwriting them, it would be nice if they had a little bit more space. So I cut in between those, and also cut off, you can see that there's a little flower at the top. I also cut that off. I'm going to be using a chocolate brown pigment ink pad, and this is just a craft smart pad from Michael's. It is pigment ink. I prefer pigment ink because it shows no matter what quality stamps you're using, you can't really mess it up. So with that, we're going to be getting it all inked up, and we're going to stamp "She's Expecting" at the top. And I mounted the date, time, place, and given by stamps as well. Get those nice and inked up also. And just put them a little lower on the onesie. Just give it a little gentle push so you can still read it. And we're going to do that with all 4 of these. And generally with the Studio G stamps, you get better impressions if you just push lightly. Now on the back side of some of the ones that I did, I've got another stamp that says "Welcome Little One." And since I do them on darker colors, I let this dry on the front, the pigment ink, then flip it over, and we're gonna put another stamp. This one says 9 months and counting. And I just think it's adorable. Really symbolizes how long you've been pregnant before you get to have a party. So I'm gonna ink that up real well with the chocolate also. Go ahead and stamp the back of each one so that people, when look at it, they will know that it's something regarding being pregnant. So these are our baby shower invitations, cut with the new arrival cards and designed by Dawn at dawnsaddiction.blogspot.com. I hope you enjoy, and know that each 12 by 12 sheet will make 4 invitations. So if you plan on making more than that, you'll need to make sure that you've got enough of the same paper unless you want them different designs. Hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.